Thurgood Marshall, the first Black Supreme Court Justice of the United States. He served as an Associate Justice of the Supreme Court from August 30th, 1967 until his retirement on October 1st, 1991. Marshall was born in Baltimore, Maryland on July 2nd, 1908. His father was a railroad porter and his mother a school teacher. One of his father's hobbies was to follow legal cases, and often the young Thurgood would accompany his father to observe court proceedings. The young Marshall shortened his name in second grade to Thurgood. Thurgood credits his father as turning him into a lawyer. He says his father challenged his logic and taught him to argue. After graduating from Lincoln University in 1930, where he was on the debate team and a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, he applied to the University of Maryland Law School. He was rejected because he was Black. In 1933, he graduated summa cum laude from Howard University, the very first in his class. Civil rights, human rights, and racial justice was Marshall's focus. Prior to his career on the Supreme Court, Marshall served as the director of the NAACP's Legal Defense Fund and represented the Brown family during the historic 1954 Brown versus Board of Education case, in which the Supreme Court declared separate but equal unconstitutional in public schools. Throughout the 1940s and 50s, Marshall distinguished himself as one of the country's top lawyers, winning 29 of the 32 cases that he argued before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's victory for Marshall in the case of Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka established his reputation as a formidable and creative legal opponent and an advocate of social change. His landmark case desegregated public schools and was a major catalyst for the civil rights movement, making possible advances in desegregating housing, public accommodations, and institutions of higher learning. Marshall's argument that segregation in public schools produced unequal schools for African Americans and whites. Psychological, sociological, and historical data supported his case, and eventually he was victorious. He clearly demonstrated in his oral arguments how institutionalized segregation and its negative effects were detrimental on the self-image, social worth, and social progress of African American children. In 1961, he was nominated to the U.S. Court of Appeals by John F. Kennedy. He was eventually confirmed after delay and pushback from Southern white senators. He became Solicitor General in 1965, appointed by Lyndon B. Johnson, and on August 30th, 1967, he would be confirmed by a Senate vote of 69 to 11 as the first Black justice to the highest court of the land. During his nearly 25-year tenure on the Supreme Court, Marshall fought for affirmative action for minorities, held strong against the death penalty, and supported a woman's right to choose. He favored the rights of the national government over the rights of the states. The court was mostly liberal when he joined it, but by the time he retired, he was the last liberal member in a conservative majority. Among his many awards, his life has been documented in a stage play and a blockbuster movie, and he has been honored on a U.S. postage stamp.